For so long, I bet you've been told and taught to run from your stress, to find ways to manage it so that you can reduce it. But what if I told you stress is one of the best, most powerful ways to build resilience? Because when you respond to it with intention, stress actually makes you stronger. So in this video, I'm breaking down the connection between stress and resilience and how you can use stress as your personal training ground. Let's dive in. So there's something that psychologists call adaptive stress. These are these short bursts of stress that you might feel throughout your workday, that you might feel throughout a work week. And these little bursts, this adaptive stress, actually helps you to build capacity mentally, emotionally, and physically. Because what the stress is doing is actually activating cortisol and adrenaline in our system, and these things serve as signals. And every time it happens, we have the opportunity to determine how we respond to it. And the more opportunity you have, the more practice you have in its response. And so when you have something that's short bursts, then it gives you that ability to keep practicing, keep honing in how you respond to those stress signals. So now let's think about resilience. Resilience can exist without some type of stressor being a part of the equation. Because resilience is all about how you move through a difficult or a challenging time. How quickly can you navigate? How quickly can you strive to understand what you're learning through the process so that you can grow, continuing to step one foot over the other. In the absence of a stressor, in the absence of stress, resilience doesn't exist. So you need both of them in order to improve your ability to move through hard times. Honestly, this is the reason why I invite people to find low-risk stress or low stressors that aren't going to cause a lot of damage, but something that can invite you into that state of high cortisol and adrenaline so that you have the practice of doing something with it. And that is giving you the reps on recovery, giving you the reps on resiliency. Again, resilience can exist without a stressor, without the stress. So now let's dive into 5 ways to actually use the stress that we feel in our day-to-day to nurture and build our resiliency, as opposed to that stress burning us out. So the first way is, let's just flip the script, right? And let's keep it in tune with what I've just presented. Stress as a signal. Stress as the beginning of an opportunity for me to build my resilience muscle. One of the questions that I like to ask myself when I'm in times of difficulty or a lot of stress is, what is this stress pointing me towards? Right? Typically, when we get stressed out, when we feel that we're enduring a lot of challenge, usually it's around something that we value, that we care about, that we want to be engaged in. So ask yourself, what is this stress pointing me towards? Again, stress is information. Stress is data. So what is it striving to inform you about? That you need more rest, that you need to nurture a connection, that you need to let go of a connection that's no longer serving you, that you need to get really honest and candid with your management about reprioritizing your plate or helping you understand what are the biggest priorities you should be working on. It is data, it is information, and it's meant for you to do something about it as opposed to keep holding on to it and keep just trying to struggle through it. That is what will lead to your burnout. The second way is to track your triggers, not just all of your to-dos. So I would actually invite you to start a new note on the notepad on your phone. And I want you to have one column or one section labeled triggers, and then the other section labeled teaches. And throughout the week, every time you feel emotionally charged, every time you feel a stressor or you feel a little bit stressed out, I want you to jot down in the notes what triggered this. What is inviting that stress? What invited that emotional response? And then at the end of the week, I want you to think about, what is this trying to teach me? And this is also a powerful exercise because it starts to help you understand patterns. Right? This is something that I do to help me with my own emotional self-awareness. It helps me to see, you know what, every time I try to use that tool, I get frustrated and I get pissed off. Or every time I'm in that meeting, I leave so irritated. So a pattern starts to form, and it's really starting to blast and blare. That's where I have opportunity. That's where I need to put some attention, because a change needs to be made in some ways to help me move forward. And so again, I want you to jot down and take note of your triggers and your teaches. What is triggering this stress response, this emotional response? And then what might it be trying to teach me? What is it trying to show me? What lesson is there for me to learn from it? The third way is to schedule your recovery just like you schedule your work. Resilience, like I said before, is not about never feeling stress. Resilience can exist without stress being in the equation, but rather it's about being intentional about recovering from when stress has been introduced. And so be very intentional about scheduling time for reflection and recovery. Maybe it's a solid afternoon that you have scheduled every Wednesday, and this is your time to reflect. Maybe you're going through your triggers and your teachables. You're thinking about some challenges you've gone through. What have you learned? This is your time for recovery. Be intentional about that. And the more that you can schedule this time, just like you schedule your meetings, just like you schedule your time to get all the work done, this is going to help you avoid change fatigue. It's going to help you sidestep those stressors becoming really big in your life and taking over such that you can't move forward because you're too exhausted to do so. Schedule recovery, just like you schedule your work. The fourth way is to name your stress pattern. This one is really, really powerful, and it helps you become more self-aware. This is about striving to understand when I get stressed out, when there's a stressor in my life, what do I do? What are my behaviors? What do I go to? For me, it's a bar of chocolate or some ice cream or a cookie. For others, it's when I need to get out, I need to go for a run, I need to go bike, right? And that's a good way to alleviate the stress. For others, it might be wanting to go into a downward spiral, wanting to vent, want to just grab anyone so that you can talk about and vent how terrible things are. Understand what that pattern is for you. You have to understand the pattern first before you're enabled to break it. Now, for some of you, if the stressor, the behavior that you have is to go for a run or go for a bike ride, then you already have a pretty healthy kind of reaction to your stress. If it's something that's not ideal, something that you wish to change, by knowing it, you'll be able to make that change. What happens so often, especially today, all of us are seemingly drowning in so much change, so much complexity, so much uncertainty as the world is just changing on such a rapid pace. And so often we can get ourselves on autopilot, right? Where we're just doing the work, we're pushing. And yes, there's stressors. Yes, we're feeling it. Yes, there's the adaptive stressors that we feel every day, but it just becomes a part of the day. It's just something that just happens and we just keep going on autopilot. But there is a huge danger to that of burnout, of change fatigue, of completely checking out, and maybe missing out on an opportunity to grow, to get a promotion because you stayed on autopilot. So knowing the pattern, you're able to break yourself out of it, recognize that pattern, and change it if you wish. This is really about shifting from autopilot to awareness. The fifth and final way is to train yourself with intentional discomfort. Think about things that scare you. Think about things that even the thought of them stresses you out. For so many, and I get told this because of my profession, it's public speaking. It's speaking in front of a group. And if that's, maybe something that is one of your fears, find an opportunity to go speak in front of a group and create that stress. Again, you're giving yourself the opportunity to feel it, to develop this level of comfort with having that level of discomfort, right? And so that you can know how you respond, how you move forward. And so I always say, strive to find the things that scare you. Strive to find the things that would present stress and discomfort, but make it to be low risk, right? And again, this is training your mind, training your body, introducing a stressor. This is what I feel. This is what my body does. This is what my natural reaction would be. This is how I want to train my response moving forward. There is such value in doing so. Because the truth is, you build your resiliency and your confidence not by avoiding stress, but by proving you can face it again and again and again. With that said, best part, freebie, link below, free chapter to my book, Change Enthusiasm, How to Harness the Power of Emotion for Leadership and Success. This introductory chapter is going to give you a flavor of what this mindset is, and it's a mindset that's going to help you nurture your resiliency and face those stressors in very productive ways, in ways that can fuel growth. And it's yours completely for free. Just follow the link below. And until we meet again, keep learning, keep growing, keep experiencing the stress so that you can build your resiliency. And above all else, please keep rocking.